Hey guys.
Hey everybody.
Welcome to the show. We have such a stellar show for you guys today. But first off, we're the chicks in charge. I am Shasta.
And I am Jess, and we are so excited to see you guys today and have you guys join us. Thank you guys so much for watching. And before we get started, please remember to share the show right now before we even bring our guest on stage. And even before that, I know that Shasta has a really cool post that she saw this morning from Trent Cannon that she would like to read regarding our guest.
Yes. So this is a little out of the ordinary for us, a little bit different than how we normally do things, but this introduction is 100% needed. So this post is from Trent Cannon. True car story, McAllen, Texas, 2018. The CTO of Burt Ogden and I are talking when he says, "Hey, I got an issue I need for you to handle at Buick GMC. We got a girl, college educated, very nice, but she asks a lot of questions and it annoys the guys. I need you to find a role for her. She fits in. Her name is Ariana." Me, no problem. I head over to the store, talk to the managers about her. Manager, who? Araceli, Ariel, something like that. Other manager says, he means Ariana, the annoying one, always asking questions. Manager says, oh yeah, she needs to be in BDC or something. Let me get her. Trent says, I meet Ariana, 22 and full of life. She immediately starts asking questions. Where I'm from, what I did, how I did it, why I left, how old am I? Then she states her problem. Ariana, well, I've been taking pictures of cars for Facebook, but the sun is so overwhelming, they never come out good. Me, Photoshop them. Ariana, I don't know how to Photoshop. Are you willing to learn? Absolutely, if it'll help the company. I sign off to buy her a $129 version of Photoshop, and she masters it within a week with YouTube classes. Her photos are so good they become to be used group wide. Even the owner, I hope I don't mispronounce this. Vacker asked who the new photo guy is. When she finds out it's actually Ariana, she's elated. Time passes. Ariana is moved to sales role at the struggling Volvo store. One day she calls in 2019. The Volvo GSM says I'm wasting too much time taking photos with cars at different locations. Trent says, how many did you sell last month? Ariana says 7. How many did the store sell? 11. Trent says, so you're responsible for 65% of the store's sales, and he's worried about you promoting his inventory. Tell him I said get the store to 20, then we can start discussing human resource capital management. She laughed. Volvo GSM didn't, and she left. She started her master's. She thought about leaving the auto industry, and then she called again in 2021 with more questions. I keep being told the auto industry isn't for, in quotes, people like me. Trent says, by sexist, primarily non-formally educated men who are often easily intimidated by someone of equivalent or higher intellect than theirs. There are no easy roads. You can be short, fat, black, ugly, gay, Muslim, dyslexic, or a single mother with 2 kids. Someone will always find a reason that you can't. The only question is, are you dumb enough to listen? Ariana is not dumb, and she did not quit. She got F&I certified, BDC certified, she read, and she went to Andy Elliott training. Last month, Ariana was named district sales manager for GMC Buick by General Motors in their coveted Nashville, Tennessee region. And today, she is our guest speaker here on the Chicks in Charge podcast. So without further ado, please welcome Ariana Garcia.
Hey Ariana.
Hey guys, how are you?
We're good. How are you?
Hey, I am enjoying Tennessee. I can tell you that for sure.
Good.
How's the weather?
It's hot.
We're not too far like regionally from Nashville, so I'm imagining it's not too different than where we are here. But wow, what a post from Trent last night! And
Yeah.
how did you feel when you saw that? Like, what were all the feelers?
You know what's crazy is that, when he posted it, I had no clue. I had no idea whatsoever about what his role was. All I know is I met him from one day to the next, and he was kind of giving me tips and pointers about, how can I make my pictures better, or where to take them. And little, like he told me, he goes, Ariana, go to the back, rinse off this car, dry it, and then take it to the arena and go take some pictures. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
What it is, what it is. And it was crazy because, with the organization, we had meetings, like monthly meetings. And next thing you know it, my pictures were being displayed and they were just like, well, who are these from? Next thing you know it, all the eyes were on me. So I can appreciate, the story that Trent posted.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, we had no idea that it was going to get the amount of attention it was.
Right.
Wow.
So did you become the official like photographer for all of the inventory photos, or were you just doing them that you were promoting?
So not necessarily for the entire inventory, but for their social media pages. They have quite a variety of different pages, and next thing you know, they were kind of planning to have me go to store to take pictures, and then even talk to other BDC managers and how they can improve their photos as well. So that was even secondary of what I was doing.
Wow. So, question, I know that you didn't know that Trent's main job was to kind of wrangle you, but did you know that you were looked at as that annoying girl that asks all the questions? Were you aware of that at the time?
I wasn't.
Oh my gosh. Did you find that out in the post?
I did. Well, I had to say the character that I was presumed as, I didn't know until I actually left the organization for another one.
Gotcha.
And it wasn't until I kind of heard, kind of whispers and talks here and there that I was like, oh, okay, it's just, it is what it is. It just was the thing. But I didn't know I was considered the annoying one. No idea.
How funny.
The Robin's comment sounds like us, Jess. So when we travel, this one plans everything at least 3 days in advance.
I'm a mom of 3 kids. Okay. I have to.
But like the first day we get there, she's like, what are we having for lunch on the last day? We're like,
oh, I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. I don't even eat.
It feels like that. Or like what time are we flying out on Friday?
Okay,
like,
that is valid.
So it's stuff like that. We're like, dude, like we don't even know like what we're doing next hour. Like because we just fly by the seat of our pants. So that's the running joke around here.
I'm guilty. I'm very much guilty.
I have to have everything planned out. I will go crazy. It's like OCD for me.
Yeah.
I have to know what I'm doing.
So when the time that Trent was talking about when you were at this store, what was your position? Were you in sales? Were you BDC? What were you doing for the store?
So what's crazy about it and how it started was I was in college. I just graduated. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had a girlfriend of mine that was a BDC manager at that current store and was like, hey, we're looking to hire someone. Are you interested? And I said, yeah. I reached out to her and I was like, sure, what is it? What do I do? She goes, just come on in, do the interview, yada, yada, yada. I did the interview. Everything went great. I was hired on the spot. And I didn't get into the position until I would say about 2 or 3 weeks later. And of course, there was a director above me and then another, BDR. And I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I was like, okay, so I'm cold calling people about cars. What do I expect? So that's kind of like when the questions started to happen, especially when it came down to, let's say, inventory was one, equipment was another, promos, whatever the case may be. I had all these questions that I didn't know. I had no idea. And even then at the time, I don't even think the GM even expected to have me there at all at the time.
Mm-hmm. It's always fun. And I remember when I started in the BDC, and even when I try to tell people about what the BDC does, like when somebody tries to tell you, and I'm sure like when your friend tried to tell you like what the BDC does, and then once you actually found out, you're like, I had zero understanding of what this was.
Absolutely.
I didn't get it at all. And I remember my first day of training. So the store that I started at, we actually did the sales training, like with the salespeople, and they walked around and asked, like, what do you think your expected metrics will be? And they told me, you're going to be making phone calls and setting appointments. And I'm like, I'm going to set 200 appointments a day. And they're like, that's not how this works. I'm like, I think you misunderstood what this is. And I hadn't done anything yet. Like I hadn't started on the phones. I hadn't even sat in the BDC yet. It was just like I just started. And so I 100% misunderstood. Like,
oh yeah.
There's
one of those jobs that you really don't even you can't understand what all it entails until you do it.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't even think there's a way to explain that.
It's so hard because without sounding like you're cold calling, or especially if you're not from the auto industry, and even you being college educated, you have a degree before you go into it, I'm sure had no clue of what you were walking into.
None at all. Like, some of the requirements were, hey, you're going to make 100 phone calls a day. That was one of the requirements. The emails, I can't remember the exact number. And then of course the appointment set and everything like that. And that was on top of getting all the leads that came in that day, following up with the previous leads that day, and kind of just cleaning up, the CRM system as much as possible.
Mhm.
So it was, I didn't think, I was like, that's not going to be a bad thing. And then next thing you know it, I went in every day, like 8:30, kind of right before business, because I wanted the fresh leads. And then next thing you know it, like I was leaving at the same time as the salespeople, which was like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, every day.
Yeah.
Wow. You have such an amazing story of perseverance and resilience, just being a woman in the automotive industry. But Ariana, you are not just a woman in the automotive industry, and you've not just come this far. Tell the audience how old you are.
26.
It is mind-blowing. It is very, very rare. I don't think it's happened yet that Shasta and I find anybody in the automotive industry that are younger than the two of us. Much less to find somebody that has gone so far beyond their years in their career the way Ariana has. And it tells such a story, and it's so amazing to watch you grow and watch these accomplishments as they're happening for you. It's mind-blowing. Ariana, what do you have to say to other young adults or women coming into the automotive industry?
I think, with the post that Trent posted and really just hearing my history, my story is always about breaking the mold. Mm-hmm. It's always like, don't let someone else picture or guide you in a way where you think. You kind of just have to grab the bull by the horns and choose your path. I had no idea I was going to get to where I'm at by someone else delegating where I was going to be. And I think that's the most important thing. You got to network, you got to talk to the right people. You got to really put yourself out there. I know my personality trait, I'm kind of like an introvert a little bit, but when I gotta be, I'll be an extrovert, and I'll get out there and I'll talk. And once you kind of get me going, like I can't stop.
Right.
I really can't. And I think that's the most important thing. You kind of have to push. I get age is somewhat of a factor sometimes, but if you can look past that, and if you can look past gender too, I think when you really start to see the individual as themselves, that's when everything starts to align perfectly.
Well, and it's tough because like we do make such a big deal of it that, you've done these things. You are, you have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and you are only 26 and the district manager for GM and have accomplished so much, and do make it about age and the fact that you are a young woman. But it's amazing because we are still in the automotive industry that is still majority men, that we are breaking the mold, as you say, and making such huge strides and setting the example for young women, young people everywhere, not even just women, but showing, hey, when you really put your mind to it, look what you can do. And then think of, because of how early you started. I mean, you only started in automotive at 21, but think of even how early you started still, how much further ahead you're going to be, and the impact and changes that you can make with those years.
Right. No, absolutely. And you know what's crazy is, if I had to go back and be back in retail, I wouldn't mind at all. But what really got me motivated is I started to meet people that were like my age or, kind of closer to, a little bit 30, maybe early 30s. And they were already, sales manager, GSM, GM, and whether it was a family-owned dealership or not, they were already achieving these things. And I was like, that's where I want to be. That's where I want to be. I don't want to be the bottom of the barrel. I want to be at the top, like everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you were a little girl, what was your dream job?
So crazy enough, I wanted to be a veterinarian. Grew up on a family ranch. I did FFA and 4-H from when I was about 6 years old to when I was 18. And I thought, me being either an ag teacher or a veterinarian was the path for me. I loved animals. I loved what I did I showed show steers. So cattle, right? Market steers.
Wow.
And I did that for several years. And honestly, I even helped other people in regards to, that was part of my job at the family ranch, was to take other people's animals and kind of make them show ready for them, because they had no time because of summer camps or sports or whatever the case may be. So that was my job. So I thought, this is the role I have to take. And it wasn't until I got to college where I was like, no, there's other stuff out there for sure.
That's awesome. I grew up on a farm growing up, and I barrel raced as a kid, and so I was immersed in that area as well. And so my dream job as a child was also to be a veterinarian. So I think that's really cool. So you never saw yourself as the district manager for GM?
I had no idea I was going to end up with cars in general.
Right. Did any of us, honestly?
No.
I mean,
I think if you come from a family that's either like a legacy family, or if it's a family-owned business, for sure, 100%. Or if you marry into the family, right? But other than that, like, you really don't see yourself into automotive once you're in it. And like I always say, you always some people try to get out of it, but for some odd reason, it keeps sucking you back in.
It pulls you right back in, 100%. And I even think that some of the people who have the family legacy of the dealership, I think that they even try to fight against it. And they're like, I'm going to go do something else. And then they even get pulled back in it.
Yeah. Again, I was a salesperson. I did that, BDC. I didn't think from BDC, I was like, there's no way I can do sales. I see what these guys do on a daily basis. Next thing you know it, I was in sales. And I was like, oh, this is a new high for me. I like that.
Right.
But what's crazy is that I kind of knew sales was for me, because I remember my GM at the Volvo store was like, hey, go close that customer. And I'd never closed a customer before, but I always had assistance with my GSM. And he goes, go close it. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, go close the customer. Okay, cool. So I bring out the pencil with the customer. And next thing you know it, the GM is right there, quiet, listening to everything I have to say. And next thing you know it, closed.
No pressure.
No pressure. And what's crazy is that happened again at my GMC store with a different GM, who I absolutely love. He's great. He's all about team energy and really making sales get out there. And same thing happened. He would say, he goes, you're going to go close that customer right now, and I'm going to hear every word you have to say.
Boom.
And again, same thing. It was like, what was happening? Were they testing me? Were they seeing I was able for the job? Was there more potential out there? I didn't know. All I know was I was told, go close that customer, and I'm going to hear everything and make sure you do. So I think that's when I knew sales was for me.
Right.
Do you have any one person or any one leader that was an influence in your life that you feel like helped push you and made you want to stay in the automotive industry and pushed you to where you are at now?
That is a really difficult question, only because, there was a lot of influencers in when I started automotive. I had those that really wanted to see me fail hard. And I also had those that when I wanted to fail, they were like, nope, you're not doing it. Right. Absolutely. I had one of my GMs at Acura that he actually pushed me to my master's. I thought about it. And I was like, I don't know if it's the time for me. He goes, you know what? I'm going to give you the time. Do it. Right. Wow. And to this day, I'm very, very grateful for him. I had some other people when I left Texas that I met outside of the state, such as y'all and anybody that's reached out to me, and they've guided me along the way. But I mean, there's so many people that, there's not enough time to say that gratitude. So in one particular person, no, but for many, yes.
That's awesome. And I think that is so important. Anybody in any industry has to have somebody or somebodies that are going to be willing to extend that hand. And as much as we don't want to admit it, most of the time, the ones that are hoping that we will fail, the ones that are rooting for us to fail, the ones that are wanting us to just fall flat on our face, they're our biggest motivation.
Yeah. 100%.
And if you guys are watching this right now, it's a lot easier to be supportive than it is to be a hater.
we would all love that, right? Yeah.
For real.
Right. Adiana, sorry, I'm going to say that wrong occasionally. You have an amazing story. Like, I didn't even have a handle on how huge your story was until this morning whenever Shasta sent me that post.
Yeah.
There was not even enough words to say, holy crap. And then to find out that you were only 26 blew my mind, girl. Like, you've come so far. It's amazing to watch your story play out.
And this is why we do this.
Phenomenal.
This is it's the entire reason for why we started this show, and it's grown into more than that, and into sometimes we talk about other things. Sometimes we introduce vendors who are great to work with to the space or things like that. But this right here, your story, where you got started, the inspiration that women like you and Courtney Pascal are to women everywhere is why we started this. Because we got this start sometimes without that guiding light to look up to. We didn't have those ladies that we could look around and ask those questions. We didn't know where to turn to and say, how did you do it? Or we don't know that there's people out there who are killing it. While there is that ladies at the dealership group, there's plenty of thousands of women across the country who aren't in that group,
right,
who are struggling or who are just trying to find a way to pave their own path. And so the more people that we can reach with stories like yours and teach them, you can do it. You can pave your own path, break the mold, ask why and ask why not, keep asking the questions, be annoying, and be different.
And unapologetic.
100% be unapologetic.
Yep.
And guess what? Amazing things are going to be in store for you too.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, like, where it was shared, especially in the life of the dealership group, you kind of always see those people that aren't the most supportive, I guess you could say, in the group, right? And to see all the support that came from it. I don't know if it happened to you, but for me, I got friend requests like crazy. I got comments like crazy. I got messages like crazy. And I can tell you that I've already kind of reached out to some, in my same scenario, man or woman. And they've had the same thing happen to them. And it's just one of those things where, again, the networking happens or just reaching out to people and just trying to figure out, where is the support? I think I lacked that for a long time, the support, or who to go to. And it wasn't until I decided, hey, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. I'm going to leave my hometown. I'm going to move to Florida. I'm going to meet new people and then try different companies. I mean, I was always scared of being the dealership hopper, right? I went to 4 different stores, 4 different companies. And everyone always has that fear of hopping stores. And when you see it on the resume, it kind of raises a red flag to some of the people that are looking to interview you. But what mattered to me is what did home feel like? Especially like if I am spending 12 hours away from my own house, where can I make home feel like?
Yeah. And who's going to treat me right? Who treats their customers right? And who matches my core values?
Right. And if I can go back, the last store that I was at felt like home for me. To the extent of the owner, he literally, his office right behind my desk. He would come to me, ask me questions, kind of see how I was doing. He kind of put me in finance school. He kind of pushed it for me. We didn't advance that because I was still doing my master's. And he said, I want you to get your education before I make you go to the next level. And to a point, I was a little stubborn. I was like, no, like just push me into finance. That's what I want. I can now appreciate him doing that for me. And I can go back to his store and talk to him and kind of see. And he still sends me messages and everything like that. So I'm very appreciative of even though I wanted to take a different turn, some people helped guide the path.
Right.
Yep.
Can I ask, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but what was the biggest push for you? And maybe there was pros and cons, but what was the biggest push for you in all of the knowledge you had between BDC, sales, learning F&I, being BDC certified, all of the things, taking that and making the decision to leave retail and join OEM and take that big step that had to be, for one, scary. I would imagine if I put myself in your shoes. But I mean, what was that biggest driver and what was your biggest fear?
You know what's crazy? I'm glad you asked that question because it was one particular person. It was my old GSM at my Chrysler store. His name's Adrian. So if Adrian's watching this or comes across this is because of you. And we were taking a walk outside because he needed a breather. And so I decided to follow him because I had a question, of course. And and one day he was like, Ariana, what the hell are you doing here selling cars? And I was like, what do you mean? We're making a lot of money. Of course, it was the peak of the pandemic. Everyone was making money, you know, and everything like that. And he goes, what the hell are you doing here? And I was like, making money. What do you, and selling cars for you? What do you want? And he goes, you're more than this. He was like, I expect more from you.
Wow.
And that kind of was the driver to kind of see about, okay, if and he's 30, mind you, he's a GSM and he's 30, 31, one or the other. But that was the point, the turning point of, okay, Ariana, think bigger. And that's kind of like led me to OEM. And again, when I first started in the business, you know, at the Buick GMC store, I kind of saw these people in suits walk in. I had no idea. They came in a company car that looked kind of funky and weird, you know, because it was not something you would see, but you saw in the back of the plate, it said manufacturer. I was like, okay, like who are these people? And they dressed really nice, and they talked to the dealer principal and the GM, and I was like, okay, they must be important, right? And it kind of went from there. Then my curiosity just kind of started spinning like a hamster wheel, and that led me to where I'm at today.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I would assume there's days that you miss it, but you get to impact more people in your position, getting to touch multiple stores than just being in one store, still being in retail. And I think if I were to put myself in your shoes, that would be my driver, is that I can help more people
at one time
in a position at the OEM level than I can in just one store.
Absolutely. I mean, I still get customers that call me and say, hey, are you still selling cars? Right. Or so I'm kind of having to guide them to other people, depending what they're looking for.
Right.
But I do miss it to a point, you know, where selling a car was a rush. You know, it was like, okay, let's go to the next one. And how can I help? You know, again, people sometimes when they buy a car, it's a big leap for them.
Right.
So really being able to be transparent, clear, honest, you know, not being the cliche, like, you know, the shady kind of person was something that I always wanted to implement when I was selling cars. And on the OEM spec, I mean, again, I talk to dealer principals and sales managers, but I mean, I really want to touch everybody, you know, in a sense of, you know, I want to talk to salespeople in case they have any questions. I want to talk to sales managers or finance managers or whatever the case may be. Anything to help the store become more profitable.
Exactly.
In a way, that's what I want to do, because at the end of the day, that's their business and that's my job. So. Mm-hmm.
You are so inspirational, Ariana, and I think that you have such a good opportunity to mentor other women in the automotive industry, other up-and-coming men or women in the automotive industry. And I hope that you will be encouraged after this show to get on more podcasts and get yourself out there and share your story, because you're such a light in the industry. And like I said, you are such an inspiration that I think that you can truly change the lives of many, many people just by sharing your story as often and as loud and as proudly as you can. You have so much to offer.
Yes.
I really hope so. I hope, like, again, you know, with everything going on, I didn't expect it to be as viral as it was. And I really hope it touches people, men and women, and of all ages, right? Because you never know. Again, you never know who you can work for. You could be 26 and the GM, and next thing you know, the people under you are like so much older. So I think it all just, you know, what comes around goes around. You just got to, you know, do what's right.
Right. Absolutely. And Robin says, get on some stages. Have you considered speaking at any events? Because I mean, definitely think that that's something that you should consider.
I think to a point, it's been on my mind in consideration. And I think the person that, you know, kind of lit that up for me was Mabel when she was in Women in Automotive. She was a salesperson and she got to speak. And I was like, that is really something. You know, so I would like to, and I would hope, and maybe I'll push for that. But until then, you know, it really just depends.
Have you ever spoken with Katie Mears?
I have not.
You should.
She was a guest of ours in the past. She would be a phenomenal person to connect with as well. I know, obviously, Mabel, she's amazing too. But I would definitely connect with Katie Mears as well. She has some amazing things to offer on speaking as well. She's amazing, and obviously Robin too. Cannot obviously forget Robin.
Yeah, no, she's been great.
Yeah. But there's so many amazing women. And if you could give any piece of advice to anybody either wanting to enter the industry or somebody brand new to the industry, male, female, young, old, just somebody new, or, especially somebody young, what would your biggest piece of advice that you have learned be?
Don't be afraid to ask the questions. Don't hide in the shell, and don't think, because the thing is that what I've been told, when you stop learning, everything becomes dead, right? You might as well just stop.
Yep.
And to a point, I learned this the very hard way. You never want to assume something. You always want to ask the questions, because then it paints the story.
Mm-hmm.
And if you assume off the bat, right, the other person may not trust you or may not be able to give you the information that you're really looking for.
Right.
So again, it may be annoying to some, it may be bothersome to others, but to really get down to the nitty gritty and find out, because you never know, is always going to be where you want to start.
Exactly.
I love that.
Never ever stop asking questions. That's it. That's
That's
the whole show. Yeah, that's because the second you stop is when you stop learning.
That's a good question.
Tarsi asks, what are your favorite automotive for women platforms? Can you link some suggestions for all of us to gather on?
I mean, you girls have been really, really good. I've had a mentor, Audrey. I'll tag her.
Audrey McKinley.
Yes. She is 100%, women, strong, out there. And I love her to death. Yes, Robin, women in automotive, right? There is an actual, or even WOCON as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, WOCON as well. And you can go on their website and subscribe to their email, and really, they actually do have conferences as well, and you can really get involved, and you meet amazing, strong people. And even then, WOCON and women in automotive, like, there's men in there too.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You just never know who you're going to reach out or meet.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely, we'll post those on the bottom to reach out.
Absolutely.
There's also a conference. I'm not sure how familiar you ladies are with women in automotive. There is a conference that is tied to women in automotive. I believe they are usually doing one a year. They did just have their most recent one in Dallas in, I want to say, June.
Yes.
Right after NIADA. So that does happen. They sometimes have pop-up events around the year. So if you follow their socials, you should be able to stay in touch with when they're having those.
Oh, Sandy's a good
Sandy
person.
Zanino.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sandy Zanino.
Yes.
There's a lot of influential women in this industry. But yes, we do have our podcast page that we try to highlight as many women as possible, not, trying to self-plug there, but we are always looking for those women is the reason why I mentioned that. We try to stay connected through conferences, through our connections. This week is our 10-year anniversary of being connected in this industry and trying to meet as many women as possible, not just women, but meet as many people and, find the best folks, not just who can I make money from or who can I, be in business with, but who are truly just the best people to work with.
Who aligns with our core values,
Mm-hmm.
Who do we match integrity with, things like that, or the things that we really look for.
Yes. Another great one to follow that just has a great social presence and is a great human being altogether is Laura Berman.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Laura is amazing. That's just a few. I mean, gosh, there's so many
amazing women
and I hate having to name people because I know I'm
Bobby
forgetting.
Heron. I knew it.
I know we're forgetting people. And that's why I say I hate mentioning people because I know we're going to forget people. But
Carrie Wise is huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ghosh.
There's so many women and
Ashley
people.
Church. Yes, Brooke Furnace. I'm telling you, I know I'm going to forget
many
people.
women. We can't even keep naming them because we're going to forget way too many people.
Yes, so there's super duper phenomenal women in this industry, and we will always work on sharing them all for you guys. That way you can learn from as many of them as possible. There are groups. I do know there is a Women in Auto group There are, if you work, I don't even think you have to work at a dealership because I'm in there and I don't work at a dealership, but the ladies at the dealership group, myself personally, it's been a little bit hard for me to be in there lately because honestly, the vibe's been a little negative, but that's just me personally. Other than that, I mean, honestly, I think I've been even struggling to find a good place for women to connect just in the auto industry lately. So maybe that's a call that we need a place.
Well, but you and I have talked about starting a group for women in the industry, starting a Facebook group where people can come, and I think that we might just do it. We wound up starting our Facebook page for Chicks in Charge. We did want to do a group as well. We're doing this in bite-sized pieces. But I think that I think it's about time for that. And I think that we have enough people now that are kind of demanding it and needing it, that we should really consider making that a thing that we do before the end of the month.
Yep. Everyone's saying do it.
Even Robin.
Okay, we hear you.
Okay, we'll do it.
All right. Because we need one more thing to do, but
yes.
No, this is definitely needed. Like it's, we need somewhere to connect to and somewhere to chat. And, I feel bad even sharing stuff like this in the ladies at a dealership group because we're not at a dealership and I don't want to self-promote or anything like that. So I think we need a place that's welcome for, dealership employees as well as vendors and, someone like you that's kind of OEM that's like, okay, well, I'm not at a dealership, I'm OEM, so
right. Kind of all over the place. Yeah.
Right. So
Ariana, if anybody wants to reach out to you, has any questions, wants to hear your story again, where can they reach you at?
Hey, my Facebook is open. I'm totally an open book. Instagram, again, it's a big platform for me. Those I would say are my highest two, to really reach out. Don't be scared. Don't hesitate. Again, there was this woman that, again, same thing happened to her, but except she got fired from her store. And I reached out to her and I go, hey, tell me what's going on. Where are you from? And how can I help? And it turns out I was in that territory and I, was able to be like, hey, have you tried this? Or have you looked into this? And it was one of those things where you just don't know. And then even then, if I don't know, I'm going to call someone who does.
Right.
I always call someone either a lot smarter, a lot more knowledgeable, or that has more references than I do. So I am not scared to do that.
Well, think about how lucky we were that we got to meet you at a conference and vice versa. And so many women in the automotive industry, they don't even get that opportunity. Most of the BDMs are women. Most dealerships don't send their BDMs to conferences. They don't have anywhere to connect and to meet people and to get those same resources that Shasta and I have been lucky enough to have Robin and Beverly invest in us to take us those places and to immerse us in that community and in the automotive industry to be able to get those resources and to meet the amazing people that we have. Most people in the dealership don't get that. And I think that having those Facebook groups and getting them out there are so important because we have something that they don't get. They don't have that opportunity. So why not use what we do have the opportunity for the better good of the industry and connect those people and help those people network? Because like you said, that girl that you reached out to, that you're talking to right now, Ariana, she doesn't have the connections that you have. And you might be able to reach out to one person and get her a job tomorrow at a store that's going to love her and keep her in the industry where she's going to be loved and supported and be able to grow and thrive, versus had you not reached out to her, had she not reached out to you, she might be saying, screw that industry. Like I'm going back somewhere else now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's super cool. And I think that's super awesome that you're using that for good.
Yeah, no. And again, whether you're a young and a girl or young and a guy, and you're looking at what store, right? That's always the question, what store? And a lot of times someone will tell you, oh, look at the ratio of salespeople and do they have enough women, right? And that's not always the case. What happens if just no women have just interviewed at that store because they don't want to, or they don't know? I think, at one point or another, I was one girl out of maybe 15 or 20 sales guys, and I was rocking it. I didn't care. Like, I was just like, I'm going to do my business. So I think, again, what really makes you feel at home and makes sense to you is kind of where you want to be. Don't be afraid to be like, you know what, this dealership's not working for me. Let me try something else. That shouldn't hold someone back at all.
Absolutely.
100%.
All right. Well, I guess it's time to wrap up, guys. Ariana, we have appreciated you coming on the show so much. You are amazing. You are an inspiration to so many. And I really hope that you take what we said to heart and that you decide to go on more podcasts and you do decide to share your story more often.
Brooke Furness, please listen.
Brooke Furness, Ariana needs to be your next guest.
Hey, all I can say is, girls, thank you. Again, it was my first podcast, hopefully not my last podcast. Definitely. And I can't thank you enough for helping me share my story.
I'm so glad that we were able to give you this platform, and I hope that we were able to use our platform to help these women connect with some influential people that can help them learn how to do their jobs better, and maybe even how to connect better. So that's what we're here for. Help me to help you.
Yep.
Like Jerry Maguire said.
Exactly.
All right. Without further ado, in a world where you can be anything, remember to be kind. You never know what battles somebody else is facing out there. So whenever you go out into the world this week, remember to light it up. I'm Jess.
I'm Shasta.
And we've been the Chicks in Charge.